Hello and welcome to the IP Author Podcast, where we're talking all things AI and IP. I am your host, Saskia van Reinefeld, actress and CEO of Executive Communications Coaching.
And I'm Samir Raiyani, the founder and CEO of IP Author.
So, Samir, today we're doing a slightly different episode from what we normally do. Today we're doing a little dive into the data. And so, could you please give me the story of what it is that you want to share with our audience today?
Yeah, I'm really excited today because we have put together an open website called insights.ipauthor.com. And we are really excited to share how it works, what it does, and the whole story behind it and the vision behind it, right? And we want to give you a sneak preview of what it all does. So that's what I would like to share. And we can jump into it as soon as, you're ready.
Yeah, no, definitely. I want to see how this all works, because obviously we're talking about the business of how AI is becoming the essential tool in anybody. I mean, particularly somebody who's working in the legal space, how they can be using AI to help them with their strategies, their decision making, their drafting of their patents, all of those sort of things. And so now this is the next tool that you've been working on with IP Author, and I think it's quite exciting to be able to look behind the curtain and kind of see how it all works and what it could do for people. So how would you describe this next tool that comes from IP Author? How would you explain it to people?
Yeah, so the way I think about it is, the way we've been building it.
Mm-hmm.
So patent information has been around for a long time. It has been organized, categorized, etc., and it's been made available in a wide range of forms. So you got Google Patents, you got other tools like Patent Bots or other tools like Patent Advisor. They all have done a good job of taking all of the patent information available, and they've organized it, structured it, created pretty charts out of it, made them available in a very easy to access form, etc. There are free versions like Google Patents. There are subscription versions. Patent Bots has a free version, a subscription version, etc. But that is how we've been used to absorbing and getting patent information, right? From our subscriptions, from these databases that have done a little bit of processing, but a lot of it is just raw data that has been organized into different into different sort of tables and charts and pages and so on. Well, something changed, right? A couple of years ago, we got AI in the mix. Now you got another set of tools like IP Author, where you can have a conversation and produce your results. Like you want to have an office action response, you have a conversation with IP Author and you get an office action response, right? But think about combining the two, the whole approach of building really nice data sets that you can access rapidly and an AI agent that'll help you do something useful. What if the AI agents were, set free on all of the data and told that do something useful with this data while I sleep, while I rest, while I'm doing something else. So we set our agents off on all of the world's patent data and prosecution data. And we said, give us something useful, something insightful. And out of that was born this new website that we put together, which is called insights.ipauthor.com. And it has our agents' work product. That's how we put it. It's our agent generated next generation data set.
So, because we've been talking a lot about incorporating agents and how IP Author is becoming agentic as well and jumping onto this next stage of Gen AI. And so I'm imagining what you're talking about in terms of having AI agents interacting with big data sets and being able to go and do the work of, maybe someone who you might have had as a research assistant or a kind of paralegal or somebody there who's going off to go and crunch the data and pull out the picture that you're trying to see from the data. But now you can get your AI agent to be doing that for you whilst you're sleeping, and it can pull out the insights, it can create the graphs, it can create, information that you can use then to build your strategies on to kind of keep up with your competitors. This is what you're describing in terms of...
Yeah, exactly. Okay. You got it. Think about it like, if you just look at a list of patents, then you can organize them by, different patent classes or something, and you can see what is in that data set, right? Like which patents are, like how many patents are owned by which company. Like you can get
Mm-hmm,
that
mm-hmm,
picture. But let's say the agent has already done that, and the agent has already classified each of the patents into more granular data sets. So now
mm-hmm,
you already have that covered. The agent is giving you a much more refined view when you go back and look at that data set.
mm-hmm.
But now that you got the patents into very nice, finely defined buckets, you can ask the agent to create the white spaces or identify the white spaces for you. So next
Okay.
time you go in there, you're like, okay, the white spaces are ready. Well, if the white spaces are ready, tell us, like, how they are filling up, right, over the next few months. So
Mm-hmm.
now you have a new tool in your hand, which is a white space filling tracker, right?
Okay.
That that sort of a tool was impossible to build in the pre-AI days, because you would have to have, like, engineers looking at the patents, and the
Mm-hmm,
engineers
mm-hmm.
then classifying them, then the engineers monitoring the white space. I mean, who really has that much time, right?
No one.
Well, AI agents do, right? So that, I think that's what we are coming to.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, can you show us what this looks
Yeah,
like
let's
and
take a quick look.
give us a little demo?
So today, I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm going to
Mm-hmm,
show you what insights.ipauthor.com has today, right? And you can look at it here. It is insights.ipauthor.com. You can open it in
mm-hmm,
your web browser, and it says every pending of U.S. office action analyzed, mapped, and answered. So
mm-hmm,
right now, our focus is on office action data, U.S. office action data. That's what these insights are primarily meant for. And it's
mm-hmm,
free for patent attorneys, right? So you can sign up, you can give a couple of pieces of your information, such as your email address, and
mm,
you will get access to the deepest insights. But what I'm going to show, the first step I'm going to show you, is available publicly. You don't have to sign up, nothing, right? So, for example, I have a U.S. office action, which is 1917447. I want to understand, and this is pending, right? This
mm-hmm,
hasn't been responded to yet. I want to understand what we can do about it, right? And here is the page, which is meant for this particular office action. It's an
mm-hmm,
IBM office action, and it's on optimization of time series anomaly detection. And it was filed in 2025, and it claims priority from this particular patent application, etc., right?
mm-hmm,
So we get a pretty good picture of the examiner here, right? The examiner, Debbie Le, grants 90% above average, has moderate 10% lift from interviews. This is a typical timeline, and this is a career history. Has pretty much most of the rejections are 103. This is a double patenting rejection, right? And
mm-hmm,
it's the first non-final rejection. So what our AI engine has done is gone out and found all the similar double patenting rejections for
mm,
examiner Debila in the area related to optimization of time series, right? So here is some, obviously, she hasn't looked at time series patents, so many of them. So, the closest ones are document correlation optimizer or knowledge ranking techniques, but more or
mm-hmm,
less in the same ballpark technology
mm-hmm,
wise, right? And it is double patenting. So based on that, the AI can give you strategy recommendations, right?
mm-hmm.
It tells you that, you could expect 1 to 2 rounds. You're 90% likelihood of getting this. If you have an interview, there's even a greater lift, like a little bit more upside, like there's a 10% lift for it. So, and, you will get this in like couple of years, if not sooner, right? And there's no patent term adjustment risk or anything like that here. Now, you can also say, give me the intelligent insight. So this is all being, done by the AI. So it is, you have to review it before filing, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So it's saying these are the claims that were rejected under the non-statutory double patenting rules. And then it says these are the elements, etc., that it is referring to. This is the, the sort of the patent from which this is a continuation. So
Mm-hmm.
the proposed amendment is insert a cross reference to related application section, provide that, and that's all you need to do here. So the scope impact will be minimal, and all of your independent claims will survive, right? And this is the risk assessment provided by the AI. Now, obviously, we have a lot of other types of data here. For example, we have data at the company level. So you can go into the company list and, you can look at a company and do a little bit of you get an understanding of what's in the queue for the company, which ones are the easy to overcome office actions, etc., etc. There's a lot of really amazing insights here at a corporate level, at a firm level. It gives you a sense of how much savings are available, which examiners you're working with, how much savings
Interesting.
you can have with IP authors. So there's a lot of really great data here that has been analyzed and refined by the AI, right?
Yeah, it's fantastic to see how something can be put together into a picture for you, because it's all very well to have access to all of the information in the world, which is the thing that we have now with Gen AI, the fact that from the time of Google, you put in your question, you get a whole list of options that are possibly going to give you the answer that you're looking for. But it's always so nice if somebody could just point you in the direction of what you need to know. And having things packaged and having things presented in a way that you can read it really easily and you can instantly see, oh, this is what's happening here, this is what's happening there. I think it's really interesting to have a review of the specific examiners as well, so that you get a sense of, what is it that they like, what is it that they don't like, or what is their particular style, what are the things that they care about. So you can build your strategy based on that, which is the whole point, because I suppose if you are managing you're managing an intellectual property portfolio, and if you're managing it for your client or you're managing it as part of the in-house counsel for the company, it's very important to be able to understand what's happening in the industry around you, what the competitors are doing, and what your portfolio is doing in relation to those people around you. Yes.
Yeah,
So,
no, I mean, like just to riff off of that, right?
mhm,
Um, you had this data, right? Like some of this data, like which
yeah.
examiner likes to do what, right? Like you had that data.
Mhm.
But it was very hard to get to the point that what did this examiner do in case of this exact type of rejection, right?
Mm, mm,
That's what the agent is bringing to the fore.
mhm,
And
mhm.
the agent is saying, just use this language. Trust me, use this language. It has worked before numerous times. It'll work for you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And it's basically giving you the reassurance that these things work, right? Like this was easy, double patenting, trivial example, right?
yeah.
But imagine if you're doing, a much more complex response to a 102 or a 103 or an Alice 101 or whatever, right?
Mhm, mhm.
You get to get into the head of the examiner really, really quickly because your agent has already identified what all this examiner has done before, right? So the agents are doing all this work and organizing it. So I feel that this is what databases will look like in the future, right? The
Okay, yeah.
databases will not have just so databases either have raw data, like, here are
Mhm,
the
mhm.
patents filed, or they have some human labeled data. Like, for example, the Derwent data has human abstracts and summaries.
Mhm.
Now we are getting into the age of, you know, agent generated databases, right?
Yeah.
And this is our stab at putting an agent generated database together. And we have a lot of other agent generated data sets coming out that are very high quality. These agents are well-trained agents. They're
Mhm, mhm.
supervised by patent attorneys. They have been trained to look at all the data in its entirety, zoom in on the right problems. All of that work has been done. So now these really
Mm,
clever agents are really generating these data sets and making them available to you at scale, right?
mhm.
And you can imagine that, we will have agents upon agents, right? Like you can now have like a swarm of agents that will look at all this agent generated data and do something more interesting with it, something more useful
Mhm.
with it. So, or you could take your agents from Claude or whatever, and you could have them talk to our database so that your agent can
Amazing.
be smarter, right?
Yeah, yeah. I have a question. Do you, when you come onto the website, do you need to put in a specific question? Do you need to send any kind of instructions to the agents that are working on this particular data set? Or is it that they are busy working and then providing this information and you just have to go in and look for that information that might be relevant to you?
Yeah,
What is
the
your
latter.
okay.
You don't. I mean, you don't need to sort of. You are busy.
Mhm.
You don't. have to like futz around with it. Like, you'll
Mhm,
get the
mhm,
answers right away.
mhm.
Now, you can always send your agent to our website and let it do the review and analysis, right? Or
Yes.
we can provide you an MCP tool, which is a much more powerful way. Our MCP server is much more powerful and it has a lot
Mhm.
more insights and a lot more capabilities. So you
Wow.
can use the MCP server if you have your own agent, or if you're building your own tool internally in your company, which many of our clients are actually. We'll interview some of them in the coming weeks on this podcast as to what they are using, how they are building their agents to work with our agents. So we will have a podcast about that. But that's another possibility, right? But yeah, I mean, to answer your question, you don't have to do much. Like, you just have to put
Mhm,
in your PAN number, or you can put in the name of your law firm, or you can put in the
mhm.
name of your company, and all the answers are already mostly pre-digested. Now, in some cases,
Okay.
like in the case of that insights button, you have to press the button and wait for maybe 60 seconds so that our
Okay.
agents can finish the work that they may not have started, or they might still be working on.
I'm sure everybody is capable of pressing a button and waiting for a few minutes.
Yeah,
But
the waiting time, yes.
yeah, but so then is this being constantly updated? So the fact that the agents are constantly working, they're incorporating new information. So it's not like this is a static database that has been worked and now presents static information. It's constantly being updated all the time. Is that what's happening in the background?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And so these are just self-learning systems, right? So every
Hmm.
time a new office action comes in, gets processed by an examiner, now another office action comes in for the same examiner. If they are related, you will see what the examiner did for this office action, uh,
Hmm. Hmm.
and help when you prepare a response to this office action. So it's all a learning cycle that's built in. There's no sort of human being saying, "Oh, did you see what Debbie did in this case?" No, no, no. Like, the agent knows, like, this is how Debbie operates, and this is how we're going to respond to her.
Okay, fantastic, exciting. So I can kind of check in weekly at insights@ipauthor.com, and I can kind of, it can be part of my Monday routine that I can see what have the agents been working on over the weekend, and I can check out my favorite companies, and I can have a look at the certain patents that I want to keep up to date with, and then next week, same Monday, I can check in again and see the updated information. So that's how I could interact with the website, right?
Yeah, and I think we're gonna add like an email subscription
Okay, fantastic.
capability, and we always have the MCP server. So if you really want like your agents to be constantly monitoring
Hmm.
the updates and giving you insights that are very specific to your company or your organization, your team, your invention, etc., then obviously you can tool it that way also, and we can show you how to do that. It's pretty straightforward.
Well, it sounds incredibly exciting. And I hope as many of our listeners who are excited about it will jump onto the website and try it out, and maybe even send a little bit of feedback if they have some ideas or if they have some features that they think could be cool to add onto. I'm sure that you'll be open to that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Support at ipauthor.com. We should add that to the site. I'm not sure if it's there, but yeah, definitely please send us feedback. This is really going to be a lot of fun for teams to use. I'm pretty sure it's going to save a ton of time. We already have a few of our clients using this information. They're saving time with it. They are zooming forward with their office action responses with the help of this pre-digested data. They're just making better decisions, right? Pretty much everybody who uses this website also ends up using IP Author, because at
Hmm.
the end of the
Hmm.
day, these office action responses don't write themselves. You still need a tool to do that,
Of course.
and IP Author is already equipped to take all this information and use it effectively. So both these tools go pretty much hand in hand, and that is how we envision this going forward.
That's very exciting. Well, thank you very much, Samir, and we will talk again next week. Goodbye.
Talk to you next week. Bye bye.